This is the V3 finger. Say that fast 10 times. Compared to the V2, it's much easier to put together. It's been printed also in a different orientation. So there's very minimal supports to remove. A little bit of trimming up to do. That becomes important. I'm going to try and make a lot of them. A few other tweaks. Mostly just a nice smooth mechanism. Bit of free play. That's fine. Just pops back. This is using a Dyneema, which in fact is a very stiff line. Might be worth experimenting with some polyprop, nylon, a few other materials. And that will change the characteristic of the finger. But it all pops back together nicely. Bearings ensure super smooth, very long life. These are sealed bearings, which just makes life much easier. And there you go. About releasing it. I've released everything as it's come out so far. And the problem is, it doesn't create enough inertia. So I'm only going to release the V3. The V3. I'm going to change the name. I'm only going to release this new design if there's enough demand that it will lead through to a complete campaign. Because if I don't do that, I don't think it'll happen. So then the question is, how far do you want to go? Just another hand, or do you want the whole robot? And if so, $8,000 seems to be the target set by K-scale now. So, if we can build a good large number of complete humanoids, and it's under 8K, write in the comments if you'd be prepared to put some money towards that. Deadly serious, actually. Put in the comments if you'd be prepared to put some money towards that. And we would do a complete humanoid. Low cost, capable, integrated. Experiment with software. Because I know how to make it. I do. If enough people want me to, I'll design it and I'll publish it. But I need a lot of help. Because all I know how to do is design robots, really. I don't have any experience. I don't have an MBA or any real experience. 8 months. 8 months I lasted in the real world. And then I have been fortunate, lucky enough to be backed by some visionary people. Or at least people with some money to spend on things that they thought were interesting. And that's really very lucky. Anyway, by the by, yeah, I know how to design, I'm pretty sure, well under 8,000, really. Depends how strong you want it. I think there'd be a range of choices, and they're settled down to some kind of standard configurations, because every time you change anything, you kind of change everything. Because then you've got to change firmware, and you might have to change wiring, and you might have to change dimensions and strengths and all sorts of stuff. So it's just never trivial changing anything. So the designs will have to settle down to some fairly standard issue ones. But the base concept is a mobile humanoid, largely humanoid. I think I'll give it a choice of fingers. The V3, in fact, comes in split half hands. So you have 2 finger units, which means you can always pinch, and you can always do that. And you put 2 of them together and you've got a 4-fingered hand. So in fact, that will plug on to a pair of those. I've only got one at the moment. I've printed off the other bits, so it won't be long till I have 2. And that will move like that, and you put 2 of those together, and then you've got yourself a hand. Thumb unit still to go, but this is the kind of really productionized version now of the Dex hand. And afterwards I want to do the full humanoid. So I just need enough people to be interested in doing it. there you go. Sign up in the comments. What's it going to take? How many people? Can't imagine it wouldn't happen if 1,000 people said yes and donated. If 1,000 people said yes and donated $2,000 each, you'd have $2 million. And I'm definite you can do it for $200 million. And I'm definite you can do it for $2 million. $2 million is enough. Yes, if 1,000 people signed up, pledged $2,000 each, that would give you $2 million. And that would be enough to hire the people you need to make sure that it really, really, really was very likely to do the best that it could. Doesn't mean it's going to succeed. But the timing appears to be very good, and the target would be to get it ready to do a first public demo at CES in 2025, which would neatly coincide with the release date of Groot from NVIDIA, which implies, of course, we have to be working on Groot before that. Well, maybe not. If it's just Groot ready, Groot enabled, it'll have an Orin in the head. Let me go and get it. This will be, I guess, the top option for the brain of the robot. What a beautiful beast that is. I've not really used it in anger yet, if I'm being honest. I've fired it up. I've got to do some stuff. I've not even put an LLM on it yet. Scandalous, really. But, you know, when you're doing the mechanics, there's only so much you can get away with. I've been mainly working on control systems. LLMs, I think, in the end are going to be really straightforward. You just better stick them on top of the system. If the rest of it works, integrating the LLMs is just going to be a piece of cake. It's going to be a piece of cake. Besides, I know people that are very, very good at that. So there's no point really me spending that much time on it. Nonetheless, gorgeous machine. So the V2 was actually our first attempt at commercialization, but it's still really hard to put together. And the V3 is my attempt to solve that. No reason it can't be commercialized simultaneously. Like Arduino. Arduino is an open system, but very few people bother to build their own boards because really, why would you? It's just a lot of work to build circuit boards. Do I have one ready? There you go. I think. Yeah, so, you know, for 25 euros, dollars, 30. I have no idea. Long time since I bought one of these. I use the much smaller ones now. You know, you can buy a really sophisticated piece of electronics and connect it up and get to do all sorts of whizzy stuff. You can always connect this wirelessly to the cloud or to some other powerful computer if you can't afford these, which are $2,500. That was sponsored by Silicon Highway. Thank you so much. So yeah, lots of solutions, lots of possibilities. Hands are done, won't bother with faces. Lego robot convention. So, if you want the rest, if 1,000 people pledge $2,000, it will happen. I'll certainly do my damnedest to make sure it happens.